challenge, especially in this industry, is actually being consistent. Consistency.
Right.
So the ultimate guest experience is really consistency. So the foundation for building should always be creating better systems so that every experience is consistent. All the recipes are not just with one person. Even if you're a dishwasher, you know how to cook the dish. So that has to be the culture. There has to be a culture of giving, being proactive. They really work hard, not just to promote, not just the food, no, but really our values, why we do what we do, no? Because it's not just the food, no. Mama Lu's is family. Sales without profit is vanity. And sales with profit is sanity, no? So we're not here just because of vanity. We're here to really make money. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Built Different, a leadership podcast where we strive to make ourselves better through the different stories that we share every week. And once again, I am your host, David. And guys, as always, we want an absolute gold episode, and we only bring the best in the industry because who we have here right now is actually a visionary and someone who is changing the game in the hospitality and restaurant industry here in the Philippines. We have here the CEO and co-founder of Mama Lu's Group Holdings and the current president of the Restaurant Owners of the Philippines Association. Please welcome everyone, Mr. David Season. Sir, thank you.
David.
Thank you
Thank you for
joining
having me.
us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's our pleasure.
It's an honor to be here.
I'm also a fan of your brand kasi syempre, most of us here, you have 30 branches here in the Philippines, for the Mama Lu's, which is the flagship company or the flagship brand of your holding company. And syempre, we want to know more about the story, how it all began, and maybe kasi baka may mga viewers tayo na, who wants to dive into the similar industry as yours, and you being an expert, take us back into the humble beginnings of, the company and how you built it to what it is right now.
Sure. Okay. So I'll start with back in 2000. So Mama Lu's is started by my in-laws, my father-in-law Richard and Malu Tremblay. But I was part of that when they started at the beginning, and this was 2010. But before Mama Lu's was born, so my wife's family had a European restaurant in BF Homes. And it started back in 2001. So European restaurant, it had French dishes, Spanish dishes, Italian dishes, and a bit of Filipino dishes. Now, from 2001 until 2010, the family decided to move that restaurant. Because sa BF Homes, meron yan yung popular street called Aguirre.
Yes.
So that's where a lot of successful businesses started. Henlin, Conti's, and so that restaurant, noong 2010, medyo humina siya. I guess there was a change in government. So they decided to move it to their old house, also in BF, So this old house, that location is very unassuming. Yan yung parang tinatawag nilang ghost town ng BF Homes kasi yan yung may nasunog na hotel. Tropical that area.
At yung nasa corner,
yeah, that corner,
yeah,
corner na yan. So it's an area na hindi na develop. So come 2010, they decided to move the restaurant there. Tapos, when we were talking, ako naman, I was, every time I pick up my girlfriend then, my wife now, we go there. She was the first restaurant manager. So she managed that restaurant. And before that, she was working in corporate. And what's amazing about even that European restaurant was, meron talagang customers na talagang bumabalik. It's because when I tasted the pizza was, it was thin crust, very consistent. It was parang smoky charcoal yung lasa. Tapos the pasta was very al dente. And the spaghetti was unlike anything else, no? Because it was yung noodle ba, hindi siya yung, it's in between an angel hair na maliit and the regular spaghetti. So that was the kind of pasta that the restaurant had, no? And it was, kung hindi ko alam kung ano yung al dente, parang hindi siya ganun kalambot, pero it's not so hard. And the sauce parang name-marry talaga with the noodles. So every bite of the noodles sobrang lasa.
Right.
So malasa talaga siya and masarap. And I said, wow, this restaurant has potential. And I told my wife, girlfriend ko siya then, was quit your job, focus on the restaurant, and I'll help you out. Well, let's build this together. So 2010 started. Mama Luz opened the first restaurant in their house, and it was a house. So they were living upstairs, tapos restaurant sa baba. So that's and it was just on the foundation and the purpose and the mission of making sure that we provide a memorable experience to every guest, no? So that's how we started. And every day, nakatutok yun sa customers, nakatutok sa guests, no? And making sure that each guest gets a consistent experience every time.
Right. May culinary background ba sila? Bakit ganun ka remarkable yung taste?
So yeah, that's Mama Luz. See, that's why it's called Mama Luz, because of my mother-in-law. Her name is Malu. So it was all her recipes. No? And my father-in-law had a really good palate. Talaga, alam niya yung panlasa na masarap. And I think the foundation at the beginning was really using really good ingredients. So the pasta has to be imported. Olive oil. We've tried 9 different olive oils before we came to the olive oil that really fits. So it's really in the details. Kasi yung pagkain, for you to really serve a really good food, it starts with the ingredients that you use.
Right.
So you have to be very detailed kung ano yung ginagamit mo.
Right.
Hindi dahil ito lang yung available sa market. You're gonna go with that already. So you really have to really understand and really try it and really find that difference, no? So, kailangan very detalyado ka talaga.
So, dun sa nag-start kayo as the brand of Mama Luz, was the vision like talagang, okay, we were gonna expand it, or you wanna strengthen just one location and then, na-entertain na lang sa conversation yung expansion along the way?
Ano naman, well, ako, yung background ko kasi, parang, I studied in HRIM, in CSB. Although even if that was only less than 2 years, it was I really wanted to be in the restaurant business. So growing up, I was looking up to these guys, Brian Chu of Teriyaki Boy, Raymond Magdaluyo, Bill Stelton, Mr. Group. So parang sila yung mga, when I was in college, sila yung mga nakikita ko na parang ang sarap na ganun yung ginagawa.
Right.
No? So you have guys, I think, I don't know for the same age, pero 2003, uso pa nun yung mga embassy, yung mga gimmick na, so forth. So parang it's nice to be in that business, no? Parang, and I think, being in that industry, parang marami kang kilala, marami kang connections, marami kang kaibigan, no? And your place is you have a place where people connect, no? So yun talaga yung parang, so when we started Mama Luz, parang I was also taking up my master's at that time.
Okay. And
since my wife was the restaurant manager, parang Mama Luz was my thesis. So during my MBA, I was developing, helping her develop systems, no? So what we realized was, in the restaurant, so from that European restaurant, transitioning to Mama Luz, ano yung issue? What made it fail, no? And it's because the systems weren't in place. So doon kami nag-focus. How do we make sure? Para we wanted first to identify what would make anong experience yung gusto natin ibigay sa customers natin, sa guests natin. Is it having the best pasta? Is it having the best pizza?
Right.
Is it having the best hospitality? Diba? Kasi, I mean, if that's your strategy, a lot of restaurants also do that.
Right.
So when we looked at it, we realized that the challenge, especially in this industry, is actually being consistent. Consistency.
Right.
So the ultimate guest experience is really consistency. No? So that when you dine there, and yun yung issue and up until today, it's always something new to learn every day. Because if you enjoy your experience now, or kahit mga 8 beses ka kumain sa restaurant, that you always enjoy, one negative experience, hindi ka nababalik.
Yes,
diba?
correct.
So it's that easy to lose a customer. So the foundation for building should always be creating better systems so that every experience is consistent.
Exactly.
So yun yung naging foundation natin. Now, how do we do that? No? So we had to, just an example, I think before, all the recipes were just in one person and just in one chef. And when the chef gets sick, iba ni lasa ng pasta mo. Kasi wala na yung nagluluto di ba?
Yeah.
And tao lang tayo. These are people. They make mistakes. They're not perfect, right? So, parang unang ginawa ko nun was, all the recipes are not just with one person. Even if you're a dishwasher, you know how to cook the dish. So that has to be the culture. There has to be a culture of giving, being proactive. Hindi yung, ako lang yung chef, ako lang may alam kung paano gawin ito. Hindi dapat gano'n.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, out of curiosity, kasi when you're building a process in the system, obviously it takes time, diba? You're going to do a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
But in the restaurant business, what's your success metric that you can say na, oh, this is okay? Kasi diba, kunyari, may mga net promoter score tayo na mga pag-gauge nung if mare-refer ba yung produkto natin sa ibang tao. But for you, like during the early years of building the process, how do you identify it na okay siya?
It's very, I think it's very important to like before kasi, and this was 2010, Twitter was just growing at that time. So we had a Twitter account already. Facebook was still growing. Instagram was at its infancy stage. We had what you call a red book. No, now that red book it's just a red book with all the notes of what is happening in each end of day. No, now all the servers and all the staff, the managers and all the people in the kitchen, they have a small tickler. Like a note tickler. So every time they serve a guest, if there's a comment or a feedback, diba? Hindi pa ganong, may Viber na yata nun, pero, hindi, wala pa siguro Viber nun. So they write it down. So if, let's say, maalat to, or sobrang sarap nitong pasta na to, or mabagal to, parang it's always a feedback that they take note. No? That was when we do our rounds. Well, but that was in the restaurant. No? So I think every 5 o'clock, we go to the red book. 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock, we just read the red book. Lahat ng comments, lahat ng feedback ng customers. No? So that feedback is now our gift. No? Now it's always training your servers kasi to communicate, to ask not just how the food is, but you ask how the specific food is, no? So when you go to table, let's say you do your check pack, sabihin natin, sir, how's your food? Sabihin mo, okay lang. But if you say, sir, how's your bolognese pasta? Then they would be more sincere in answering how. Diba? So there's a way as well in asking how the food should be. No? Hindi pwedeng, you have to be very specific. So, how's your soup? Sir, di niyo yata naubos to. you're not gonna pay for that, no? So parang it's that direct, hindi yung parang pag tinuro lang sa'yo, sir, how's your food? Very very transactional
Generic.
Diba? So you have to go beyond that. And at the beginning, that's how we started. By training people to be very specific, na hindi lang kakausapin mo lang tong table na to and just gonna ask a generic question when you'll get a generic answer. You be sincere in what you want to know, then you'll get sincere answers.
Right. Actually, that's a very good point, no? Kasi in any business, like, employees or your team is a very important component ng success, no? Obviously, the owners cannot carry everything on their back. But in terms of building, kasi I understand, based on what you're saying, na malaking component yung talagang training and making sure that your team sees the vision of what you want the whole company to go to, no? How do you make sure that everyone is going at the same direction? Because having like a big, 30 branches, big team, may mga outliers dyan, diba? So how do you make sure that everyone is going at the end of the tunnel na may ilaw doon, yun yung nakikita nila?
I mean, parang it's like for us, we hire based on values, no? So it starts with the values. We hire and we let go based on values. If we have differences in values, our core values, it would be easy because and of course we communicate the vision, we communicate our mission. Our purpose is to create meaningful connections beyond every plate. And it just so happens that we're in the restaurant business, but it's really that if it's in your parang it's in your blood that you really want to communicate. You really want to have that connection with the other person. Then you're meant for this business. Not everyone is meant to be in the hospitality industry. You first have to have the passion for it. Because it's really hard, and I think it's one of, if not the hardest business to go into, because you're dealing with a lot of emotions.
Yes.
You're dealing with people, and you're dealing with a lot of chances for mistakes. No, if you don't have the right things in place. So it starts with hiring the right people. No. So I like to share this is something that I learned. So when we started, I was reading this book and I got inspired. Setting the Table by Danny Meyer.
Okay.
And this was back in 2011 or 2012. Yeah, I was reading that book, and he has what you call the hospitality quotient. So the hospitality quotient is the 5 things that you look for in a person that you want to hire for the industry. First is you have to be kind and optimistic.
Okay.
Because if you're not an optimist, you're not made for this industry. How would you care how the other person feels? No? Kung negative ka, di ba?
Right.
In this industry, you really have to care. No? Number 2, you have to be intellectually curious. You're not just there, ito na yung tinuro sa'yo, tapos okay, oo ka lang na oo, tanggap ka lang ng tanggap. You always have to learn something new every day. No? So you always have to ask questions. Number 3, you have to have a good work ethic. In the industry, especially in the restaurant, hindi pwede pag out mo na, aalis ka na. Oh, out na ako. Pero sobrang busy ng mesa. So aalis ka na. No, it's not that simple. It's not like as if you're in the office where you have a time, then you can go. But in the restaurant, sometimes it's very busy, but you have to make sacrifices. You have to stay, no? So that is work ethic. You cannot just leave your team behind.
Yeah.
Tatlo na yun, no? Number 4, you have to have a high degree of empathy. The ability to understand how the other person feels, no? Ang mga customers, minsan hungry na yan. Diba? Pag nandun, gutom sila. Galit na mainit ulo. Diba? Tapos ang tagal ng pagkain.
Totoo.
So you talagang magpapakumbaba ka because you will deal with a lot of emotions. And sometimes, if you let your emotions get the best of you because of a customer that mistreated you, matatalo ka because the customer is always right. no matter what, no? Although, etong time kasi ngayon,
You
because of the
believe in that
virus,
ba?
well, nag-iiba siya eh.
Okay.
Kasi ngayon, syempre, the customer is always right. I always believe in that because that's our business. I mean, because that's where the business comes from, right? And I think now, with all this virality, with all the CCTVs
That's
and
true.
camera, diba? If you abuse somebody, mahuli ka, diba?
true.
And you're gonna get, canceled, no? Ano pa ba?
Number
So, yeah, I have 6. So number 5 is you have to have self-awareness. No? You have to know what your own weather report is. If you're not feeling good, don't be in the restaurant. If you're sick, you cannot be in the restaurant.
Right.
No? Because baka makahawa ka eh. No? And lastly, and I think this is the most important, not only in a restaurant, but also in every organization, is you have to have integrity. You're doing the right thing even when no one's looking. But I think us here, Filipinos, tayo, gumagawa tayo ng tama ko walang alam natin na tama yung ginagawa natin, pero pag may nakita tayong mali, we don't
Tahimik.
call it out.
Tahimik
No? And
tayo.
for me, integrity is calling out the things that you see wrong. No?
That's true.
If pag may nakikita kang mali, no? Speak it out. Diba? Because wala ka ng integrity kung gano'n. Diba? If magbubulag-bulagan ka, and I think it's embedded in our culture na, magsusumbong to, ganito, or chu-chu mental. Diba? May gano'n eh.
Sip-sip. Oo.
But again, in the best interest of the company, diba? Because not everything is perfect. But I think if we stand, if we speak out, no, I think everything would be better. No? So yeah, those are the 5 hospitality quotients that we look for in every person.
Anong book ulit yan? Baka may mga gusto dyan mga
It's called Setting the Table by Danny Meyer.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
A really good book. I mean, I was very inspired. That was the first book that I read, and that helped me build the first. So after BF, we opened Mama Lou's in Nuvali. So yun naman, kami ng wife ko.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how it started.
Okay, so out of curiosity, is Mama Lou's like open for franchising ba, or is it
No.
Okay.
It's all company.
Kasi,
Yeah, family one.
Kasi exactly, di ba? Sometimes, for some restaurant businesses, the reason why nawawala yung consistency is because, yun nga, yung mga process kapag napunta na siya sa ibang nagpa-franchise, na medyo na nawawala na yung consistency in terms of, everything. Now, based on what you've said so far, parang what I'm getting here is, for you to give the best experience to your customers, it starts with the internal talaga. It's having the right process and systems, making sure that you can track everything, and then having the right people to do the operations.
Correct.
Right? And then, siguro magko-compound na yan moving forward, di ba? And then you can see, pag may integrity yung mga tao, boss, may mali po tayo. Nakita po namin, ano po pwede natin gawin dito. So, now, pagdating sa brand ng Mama Lou's, kasi it looks like talagang operation side, neat, everything. Pagdating sa branding and marketing ng Mama Lou's, how did you bring it to where it is right now?
How would I, because ako, up until today, I think the best advertising is the word of mouth.
Yes.
It's nothing beats word of mouth. No? So it's also taking advantage now. Word of mouth. How do you combine tech with word of mouth? No, because we live in a world of really fast technology that now everyone is an influencer, and anyone has that capacity to be an influencer. It's just you just need the phone and the confidence, right? So. Parang kami, even up until today, we have utilized reviews as a way for us to. So that's one aspect of the marketing where we monitor the CSAT. So reviews coming from Google. I think Google is right now because there may Facebook reviews, TripAdvisor is there, but Google I think right now has the most I think following in terms of you have a foreigner you have a visitor from abroad, they go here, they use Google Maps.
Right.
They look at the star rating, makita na mataas. So what we do is we are heavily invested into technology, where we are utilizing AI. So we work with a company called Momos in Singapore that helps us consolidate reviews, read reviews, analyze all these reviews, and respond. Now, at the same time, if there's a negative review, we look at it as an issue and we address that issue. So there's a customer. So we have a system, a vouchering system, where we try to win back the guest, and we have their information where we get more information about the issue. So that's on the negative side. So if so we're very proactive in analyzing. Analyzing those reviews and see how we can improve our operation so that it doesn't multiply.
Right.
So it's again going back self-awareness. So you have to be. We're vain about our brand. I think I Google Mama Luz almost every day. No?
Really?
Every day. Hindi lang Google, Facebook, lahat. So just to actively, so it's very important to actively listen. What are the customers saying about your brand? Even kahit sa Reddit, tingnan mo. So parang kami, recently nakita ko sa Reddit about Mama Luz, parang may mga parang ganun, up, down, up, down, up, down. So again, I assembled the team. We all have to be aware. No? Because yun nga eh, since tao lang, not everything will be perfect. So that's one. Number two, we also have mystery diners. So mystery diners, we have a system where we review the mystery dining at least once a month to see all the feedback. No? So ito naman, at least nakikita kasi syempre yung review sa customers naman yon. Ito talagang may process ka for the results. Tapos number three, I guess we're just I think we're very blessed to have a young and talented team from our marketing. Shout out naman dyan. So
shout out for the marketing team. You're commended by your CEO.
And design team. I mean, we have a really vibrant, young, and talented marketing team that they just don't, they really work hard, not just to promote not just the food, no, but really our values, why we do what we do, no, because it's not just the food, no. Mama Luz is family, and we believe that we're a place where if you want to celebrate with your family, you go to Mama Luz. No?
So there are three things that I'm picking up from here. So you have the operations, systems, everything should be detailed, documented step by step. Number two is hiring the best people who can go to the path of where the company wants to go. And then number three is listening to your customers, making sure that the whole team is fully aware of what's happening in the market, making sure that you know what the customers are talking about in terms of your brand. And it looks like it's a really structured company. Obviously it is, kasi syempre you will not be in this very great position. But speaking of very great position, there are challenges that you've encountered that talagang, it was a make or break time, and just like similar to a lot of businesses, mostly during the pandemic. But what was the most challenging and nerve-wracking experience that the company, has gone through, and how were you able to pivot and adapt to it?
Actually, I have two examples. So the first one was, and I think I've shared this story before. So after our first branch, 2012, I was working for our family business, family resort. 2012, I was working as an F&B manager for the resort, and I had an opportunity to open. So I was also doing my master's while working there, and I was doing my business plan for Mama Luz. And I really wanted to expand the first Mama Luz outside of BF, where I will partner with my father-in-law, and my girlfriend then, which is my wife now. Tapos we had the location already. Okay na. Tapos tapos I got my parents as my initial angel investors, no? Because parang backstory ko kasi, parang nung college ako, mahilig na ako sa mag-double into business, no? And lahat ng mga pinapasok ko ng business, parang for whatever reason, nalulugi. No? So I put up an internet shop, closed down. Put up a small eatery, back in college, closed down. I put up a small kiosk. We never materialized, pero na yun, Mama Luz na yun. So parang it was, because my dad was in business, and I wanted actually to work for him. But sabi niya, no. It's a bit complicated. Mag-work ka na lang or do business, ganun. I'll support you na lang. So yan, I went to business and all. So now, and yeah, all these businesses that I went into, I borrowed money from my parents, no? And I was never able to pay them back. Now when Mama Luz started, parang there was an opportunity for Mama Luz to open. So we parang for the first 3 years, okay na kami kasi operational na yung first Mama Luz BF, no? And the team was ready and prepared. Mama Luz passed away in 2012. And parang everyone stuck together, no? Talagang they were, so that's why we were very prepared already for expansion. So we got a space in Makati, HP Bella Costa, I remember. It was the old Malcolm's Diner. It was 700 per square. And I remember that, so I got prepared. I got the architect. I bought kitchen equipment from a closed down restaurant. May nagsara na Mexicali noon. Binili ko yung mga equipment niya. Tapos nag-design pa ako ng PowerPoint pa noon. Design ako ng kusina. Pero tapos the architect helped me out. Tapos I paid the architect. Tapos ready na kami. O magko-construct na. Tapos I had the initial capital already. I partnered with my family, my parents. Sila nag-invest. Nung time na ng securing the lease, na-secure na namin yung space, pero hindi kami nagkasundo ng landlord. The landlord said na, I'm only giving you 30 days of construction, 30 to 45 days of construction. I was asking for 60 to 90 days because it was my first double into business. So after nun, to cut the story short, hindi siya, didn't give in. Pero nabili ko na lahat. So even the furniture, parang nandun na. So parang sabi, siya lang gagawin natin. Parang I was really devastated at that time na parang hindi ko alam anong gagawin ko kasi I had this, ito na investment. Tapos nawala yung location. But buti na lang, after a few months, we had an opportunity in Nuvali. 3 months time. So I called my architect again. Let's do a different design. But ito na yung andyan pa rin mga equipment. Bodega lang. Then we opened Mama Luz in Nuvali. So it was a month of, so I'm sharing this story as like the start of my entrepreneurial journey. That it wasn't always easy. It's not easy. If I gave up because I lost the space, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to open in Nuvali. So I guess the learning for me there was never lose hope, no? Kasi when God closes a door, He still opens a window.
Another one.
Now 7 years after, pandemic happened. 2020, we had 12 restaurants. We had to close all the restaurants, no? But again, I was proud. I was very proud of my team because they're very agile. We were able to build a website. So sarado yung dine-in. The restaurants are not closed. Food is still considered essential, pero delivery. We huddled and we said, okay, our food is still good for delivery. It's actually, I think, one of the best for delivery. So we can remain open. Let's pivot, build a website. So I think we were able to build a website in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And just try to survive from there. Take it one step at a time. And it was heartbreaking because, syempre, a lot of people, no work, no pay. Diba? So it was tough. It was tough for everyone. And kami, parang we tried to stay afloat by just continue operating on skeletal and upskilling each team member. Cashiers became packers for delivery, servers became delivery riders. So parang everyone pivoted, hindi lang kami. But the skill of our team, they also had to adjust, to adapt. So we were able to survive that during pandemic. We never closed our restaurant. The malls really helped us a lot, gave us concession, and I think we've doubled our size since the pandemic. So parang that was actually the learning na kaya pala natin just to be hyper focused. And I think it starts by, especially in the pandemic where you are unsure, it starts with yourself remaining optimistic, cautiously optimistic.
Right.
So that I guess I needed a lot of good habits, a lot of exercise, a lot of meditation. Just so I can still be able to lead the team.
Right.
So it takes there's a lot of stress a lot of drinking as well. So,
Kailangan yun, essential din yun.
Maraming drinking. Pero yun, so yun yung I guess naging support
Yeah.
to be able to survive that.
Actually, very interesting. From what you said, no. Actually, I'm down to my last two questions. But for the second to the last question, I'd like to take a step back. Kasi you have a lot of branches. Now, the most common challenge for those people who are trying to expand, kasi may mga viewers tayo na, alam mo yun, nandoon na sila sa scaling na yung restaurant nila. What do you think are the best practices pagdating sa selecting the right location for this? Because for some of our guests nga, diba, may mga iba-ibang proseso, may mga iba-ibang consideration, may mga iba-ibang scorecards yung mga yan eh. Pero for you, what do you think you can recommend for those na, okay, I want to expand, I want to scale, what do you think is the best way to go?
Feng Shui.
Kuha na kayo, National Bookstore.
Feng Shui. Hindi, pero yeah, so Feng Shui is also helpful in terms of like the orientation of the location that you're picking. But kami when we look for locations, you do it's market research, right? You look at the market, you look at what you're offering. Will there be a product market fit? Yun yung simple, diba? Parang, but it's not as simple because you need to project You need to project your numbers. Will I eat the market share of this restaurant? What is the foot traffic in this area? And will there be a product market fit? Will the price points of my products fit the market that I have there? And it's not always easy. Just because there is a foot traffic doesn't necessarily convert to sale. No? So that's where product market fit comes in.
That's true.
So yun yung mga angles na tinitingnan. Ako, when we were starting, siguro the first 6 restaurants, I personally go, and I still do this now. I go to the restaurants of our neighbors, our neighboring restaurants. I ask their sales. I remember nga nung Novali namin, this was back in 2013, I was talking to the restaurant manager of Jerry's Grill. And I was asking him, so I was having beer, sisig, tapos tumatiming ako hanggang, kinausap ko, kwentuhan lang, tapos I was asking, magkano parang magbubukas ako ng restaurant dito, inisip ko, okay ba dito? Magkano yung sales niyo? Tapos parang, I got to connect with him. And then he started sharing that this branch is ito yung national franchise, parang national winner for sales ng branch na to. So it gave me an idea na wow, if this is the strongest sales in the Philippines, and then we're in the right place. Because nandun lahat ng volume, diba? And we're talking about like a national brand, Jerry's Grill.
Right.
So it's that detailed, you cannot guess. No, if you're gonna guess, you have to get the guess from the mouth of the person.
Yeah.
So yun yung basis ko. Magkano yung sales? Yun that's always the benchmark.
That's the bottom line.
Well, that's the top line. The bottom line will follow, pero at least you know your top line already.
Okay.
And that's always the case. I think now our strategy, what we realize is, instead of competing in the metro, because we've never opened in BGC, yun pa lang. Since we opened, we've avoided BGC. We've avoided Makati, but we have in Makati already. But we've avoided that area because we don't want to generally compete with all the other guys. Because it's a cutthroat business already. So it's saturated. Restaurants come and
Red
go.
ocean na siya.
So our strategy is always opening in developing cities. Laguna, Batangas, Cavite, where we know that our price points fit the market. There's a product market fit, and we don't have competition. I mean, yung competition namin hindi ganun ka. I mean, it's different, no? Because the quality that we provide for the price is perfect. So that is now our strategy. So again, when you look at the location, just because you're in BGC doesn't mean that wow, you're doing so good, right? Or you're in Makati, you're like a cash cow na. Hindi, because grabe yung renta, diba? You still have to go to box. You still have to look at your economics, your box economics, and you have to make a profit. I learned this from when I was talking to the former chief marketing officer of Jollibee, Dondi Gomez. Sales without profit is vanity, and sales with profit is sanity. No, so we're not here just because of vanity. We're here to really make money. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, that's an overload of information. Personally, you know, we're talking here. Kayo ba? Marami kayo natutunan dyan. But, you know, so we can talk all day, no? But I hope, guys, that nakuha ninyo yung chunk na very important information na makukuha nyo dito. Because, you know, this is a masterclass nga na binibigay ninyo, no? And you can read this in actually, ito yung actual experience talaga. This is not book-based, okay? And this is like this knowledge is tested through time na. Now, down to my last question, because you and I are part of JCI Manila, obviously, diba? Now, what made you join and stick with JCI Manila, especially with your busy schedule? You know, you're the current president pa of the Restaurant Owners of the Philippines Association. Now, ang daming mong ginagawa. Why are you still, you know, trying to provide the service to humanity with everything that's happening?
I think when you, I only became, I had a project last year, Project Tinig, and we were able to raise funds. So why did I join? I was invited, of course, by my sponsor, si Anton Laborte.
Yes.
And nakita ko yung, well, it's aside from the network, the huge network, it was parang it's again going back to our business of building meaningful connection. I think JCI Manila is that is gave me that opportunity to build meaningful connection with the fellow JCs. So now that I hope to be more active. I was just in Ryder Cup yesterday.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yesterday, ba? Yeah, yes, 2 days ago. Sorry, Ryder Cup, and it's that service to humanity. No, something that I've learned. That is something that is beyond beyond what you do in the business. Parang serving people is something na na very fulfilling. Right now, one of my advocacies is helping PWDs, Philippine persons with disabilities, and it's because of it's because of an issue of fake PWD
Yes.
cards, no, that is being ang laking issue nun na sobrang naapektuhan yung mga legitimate PWDs, no. So helping legitimate PWDs or promoting inclusivity is something that I would parang yung give me peace, alam mo yun, helping communities.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with JCI Manila, where it gives you that sense of purpose when you get to help, no?
Yes.
Sincerely help.
Yes.
And not just vanity, but helping. And ang bottom line nun is talagang long-term nakakatulong ka talaga. What's amazing about JCI Manila is you're with a group of people that also share the same values as with you. No? You have the same values, and it keeps you grounded. It keeps you humble. Because even if maraming passion, maraming groups, maraming mga ito yung gusto golf, ito yung gusto iba, parang basketball or sports, and maraming mga hobbies and all. But again, when you go back to the values, and I think what sticks to me is really that sincere help to humanity, that sincere help sa communities. That is something that I think everyone should emulate, no?
Right.
Everyone should do, and everyone should experience.
Right.
Because that hindi mabibigay ng hindi mabibigay ng work, no matter how passionate you are.
Yeah,
no,
that's
that
true.
service to humanity. Once you experience that, parang hahanapin mo siya, no? That gives you that meaning, that purpose.
Something bigger than you.
And JCI Manila is a group that I really admire because these are people, successful people, yet very humble, very.
Yeah.
So you learn that value of humility. So yeah, it's amazing. It's
Very
an
well
amazing
said.
journey for me.
Very well said. Well, sir, thank you, Mr.
Thank you
David
so much.
Tisa. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
David.
joining
Yeah.
us. And I hope everyone, okay, ako ang dami ko natutunan. Again, this is a masterclass. This is an MBA from an actual entrepreneur. And with that, again, I hope you join us for the next coming episodes of the Built Different podcast, and we will still continue to shower you with a lot of learnings from different fields of experts in different industries. And with that, again, my name is David, your host for this episode, and I'll see you again for the next Built Different.
Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, Ugreen Philippines, Shoppertainment Live, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications,